So, welcome back to Astrological Influences for the Soul. I'm your host, Leisa Q, and I'm here with my co-host, Susan Allan. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you very much, Leisa. I'm looking forward to this.
And today we're going to go into a little bit more depth as to how the different signs affect the houses and relationships. So, but first we want to just talk about how, because we're going to be talking about the first house, which is Aries, which is fire. I am learning. But we've just had an Aries full moon on the 21st of March, and we're about to have another Aries moon in the new moon coming up in, I think it's the 20th of April. And it's also the beginning of eclipse season. So I'm excited. And we'll get to that. We'll get to the reason why I'm so excited.
It's a very exciting Aries season because the sun is in Aries as well. And it's just a lot of power, and it's a lot of initiation, a lot of getting things started, getting things moving, because that's what Aries is. It's a cardinal sign. So it's about moving forward. And I'm sure if you have a think about how things are for you at the moment, you can name a few things that you've really been able to make move forward. What about you, Lisa?
Well, 2022 was not the year I thought I was going to have, and I constantly felt like I was being put in a holding pattern. Every time I tried to move forward, I felt blocked. And when I did my numerology chart, I was not surprised to see that I was in a 7 personal year. And what that meant for me is I was meant to be taking a rest last year, but try telling that to a Capricorn. I don't think we know how to rest. Not really.
Not when I read your chart.
But interestingly, like we just did that masterclass on the 27th of March till the 31st, and I was literally awake at 3 in the morning every day writing content to deliver at 9:30 in the morning. It was like I was literally fired up. And by the end of the week, I was all like burnt out. But, you know, the interesting thing is it like came out of nowhere. And at the end of each day, I went, right, I'm going to prepare tomorrow's lesson. But I felt blocked. And I had learned my lesson from last year, because I believe we're here to learn lessons. I knew that if I actually just allowed, the information would come overnight. So I would set my intention the night before, and then again, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, bing, wide awake, and I am at my desk and writing some of my best content I believe I've written my entire life. So what's happening there, Sue? Because you know my chart.
It's just, well, you've got Mars in your 3rd house, which is a house of communication, and it's in Aries. So you're basically on fire.
Literally.
Mars is a very male dominant type of energy, and it's sitting in the house of Gemini. So that's the house of communication, and it's personal communication. And it's in Aries, which is on fire. So you're just like moving forward at a great rate. And the sun is in Aries as well at the moment. So there's just a lot of fire in the sky, and everybody should feel that they've got a fire underneath them and that they're moving forward with something.
So this is really good news for those people out there that have felt like they wanted to make a change, but they've been a bit wishy-washy. We were talking about mutable signs last time, being wishy-washy. But for anyone who has been thinking about making change and major change, that can be really scary. But if you know that you've got
the power
of Earth behind you, it's probably a little less scary.
Well, you should be able to feel the energy. That's the thing. And what I find is things just naturally happen. Like you were saying, you just had this fire underneath you, and you knew every day you would wake up with a download and you would write your course. And it's not that you summoned up the energy to do it. It's the energy is there. And with the full moon, etc., that's just the most amazing energy. And it being in Aries is just, it's just a powerful, powerful time. And because you've got Mars in Aries, that's extra powerful. And in the house of communication, it's all about communicating.
And it's the first time, I think, in my 49 years that I actually feel like I'm on the right track as far as what I'm meant to be doing, like my life's purpose. And we spoke in a previous episode about how I've just always known that I'm meant to be a global speaker. I never knew what it was going to be on, how I was going to do it, but it was that innate feeling. And then, I didn't deliberately set out to, not get a lot of sleep that week, but it just came so naturally. And I was not exhausted until the end of the week when the job had been done.
That's a real Capricorn thing too, that drive to work. So you'll work, and then you'll just, I was going to say die on the couch, but lay on the couch and just not move because you are exhausted. So you're burnt out. And that energy and knowing how much Capricorn you've got in your chart, so how much hard work you have within you to produce in Aries, no wonder you're on fire. And then the fire will burn out and you will just lay on the lounge for a while and recover.
Yeah.
And then we're having another Aries moon. So I would imagine that you'll be on fire again.
Yeah, well, I do have to write a new course, so, bring it on. But for other people out there, what can we be, how can we be harnessing this to make sure that we are, taking advantage of the energies to make that positive change?
Well, the thing that I really think is that you need to go out to the sky, have a look in the sky. All you have to do is look at that moon and you can feel the energy coming off that moon. Feel the energy in your life and know that it's a great time to move forward. And I feel like, I do feel energy a lot, but I really can feel that push. And in my life as well, I've really felt lately that push to just move forward, not stand still anymore, not be stuck. And that is one thing that a lot of people might say, I felt stuck. I just haven't been able to, I've felt unappreciated in my job. I feel like, I don't get credit for what I do. And then suddenly there's just this momentum behind you and you can go, well, I'm not going to put up with that anymore.
It's talking about being unappreciated. Last week or the week before, I had 2 people in the same day tell me that they were resigning from their job. And neither of them had other jobs to go to. They were literally they were fed up with being used and feeling underappreciated, and they just woke up and just went, I'm done.
And see, this is that's the Aquarian Pluto, the transformation in that freeing power to the people with Aries behind it. So you'll feel the energy that it's actually okay to do something that isn't probably the most logical decision on paper, but I know it's right for me. And then you've got this powerful Aries push behind you to actually do it, to actually take the action. So previously you might have thought about, I'd really like to resign, I really would like to, but you just didn't see a way. And I find that the cardinal energy of Aries and the fire makes you see a way, or makes you see that that's actually possible.
And it was interesting last week because we had a bit of an impromptu session last week where I went in and cleared out anger and fear for you, because in my job I have the ability to take you back and actually eliminate that negative emotion that's been blocking you. And then the next day you rang me and what did you say to me?
What have you done to me? Because I'm a very passive person, and if anybody gets stuck, it's me. I'm not even stuck, just moving backwards and forwards, going nowhere. I just had this sudden movement forwards of, no, the line in the sand has been crossed and no more.
I do believe your words were, did you brainwash me?
I felt like someone had brainwashed me because it was so unlike me. But then you look at what you had brought me to realise, and then you look at that powerful energy, and it's like, I can do that if I want to. But I also don't want people to imagine, because if you're, one of the more timid energies, like your Pisces or your Librans or whatever, it doesn't have to be this major thing. It can be major for you. So you can decide, look, I don't want to resign. That's not what I ever wanted. But I might speak up.
Yep.
You know, I might speak up, and I might actually speak my truth and say, this is not okay. So it doesn't have to be something what I would refer to as monumental of quitting your job. But it's a change for you moving forward. And however that looks for you is okay.
Yeah, general disclaimer, we're not telling you to go out and quit your job.
No.
We're just saying that right now, if you've been sitting, feeling stuck or in indecision on something that you know is just no longer working for you, because that's really what Pluto into Aquarius is about. It's about that transformation, bringing to the surface those things that are no longer serving you in your highest good. And that also leads us into like the start of eclipse season. And, you know, eclipses tend to reveal the hidden information that's been hiding in the shadows.
And some star signs are far better at hiding than others.
So which are our star signs that are better at hiding things,
Well,
Sue?
Pisces are marvellous. Pisces are wonderful at just swimming around and around and around. And they're in the 12th house, so that's your house of secrets as well. But even they can be pushed to movement in a direction. And this is that time. You know, all this energy.
Well, eclipses also mark our turning points, and they speed up things. They speed up. They bring sudden and swift change, and I've witnessed that of so many people around me right now, and they also herald unexpected results. So it's kind of like. There's a guy that I follow on YouTube, and he always says, you know, he's a tarot reader, and he says, you know, the 9 of Wands is his card of just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And that's a little bit about what's happening right now. This is the perfect energy that if you've ever wanted to try something but been a little bit too scared to do it, you got some serious energy behind you.
And it doesn't need to be an energy of breaking. It can be an energy like ceasing your job or something like that. It can be an energy of moving forwards. So I've always wanted that promotion. I love my job. I've always wanted that promotion, but I've never been confident to ask. And now you should be confident to ask. It's time to take action and use the energy around you to make plans and do that. Actually, the cardinal thing is to actually do it.
Yep. I totally agree. And even earlier today, I spoke with a friend, and she's about to go on a 2-month holiday overseas. And she said to me, I don't want my boss ringing me while I'm overseas. And I said, well, let them know.
Yes.
So now is the time for her to be speaking up.
Yeah, it's speaking up, it's moving forward. And see, that's a real progression for her, because previously she would have been held down and stuck in a way that she felt that she had to take phone calls overseas when she didn't want to and she wasn't obliged to.
Yep. Oh, and, you know, I recognise the people pleasing in her, and there's a lot of people that come to me who are just chronic people pleasers. And when I ask them what do they do that makes them happy, they can't even answer.
No.
Because they were so busy focusing
Outwardly
that they forgot along the way what made them happy. And I used to be the same. The first time somebody ever said, what do you do for self-love? I looked at them blankly and said, what's self-love? And now I teach that.
And like Aries is the first house. It's the house of the physical being. It's the house of you. And so Aries is the time to be thinking about, well, what do I actually want? And like the revelation that I had the other day after the work that we did together was, my time on this earth is actually not that long. What do I want to do? What do I want to be on this earth? What energy do I want to experience? And it wasn't being held down by work. It was about, I want to explore, and I want to do something that I really want to do. What do I need to do that? Oh, okay, well, I'll do that. You know, it's a moving forward.
And I remember a while ago, I don't think I ever published it, but I wrote a whole blog on why we deny ourselves joy. And I know there's some, people out there who certainly don't deny themselves joy. But, as we talked in a previous episode, depending on your placements in your chart, you can be really hard on yourself.
Oh, heavens.
And in the masterclass that we just did, I got everyone to do a judgment journal, which is a complete opposite of a gratitude journal. And the reason I got everyone to do that was because not so much to see how much we were judging other people, but how much are we judging ourselves?
And how hard a time do we give ourselves?
Exactly.
And how much do we hold ourselves back and not even let ourselves think about what we would like to do, what would give us pleasure? And how often do we deny the Aries? I've been doing a course recently, and I actually described myself as a reluctant Aries.
And what does a reluctant Aries mean?
I'm not comfortable with the fire. I'm not comfortable with the speaking the truth. And and I am only like a few degrees into Aries from Pisces. And so I find all that really challenging, yet it's in me innately to do that.
Yep.
But it's a challenge for me to do it. And that's why I have just loved this Aries energy now, because I am an Aries sun, reluctantly, but yes. And it's about the challenge of speaking your truth and living your life to get what you want, not at the detriment of others, but to actually think of the self, the Aries, and go, what do I really want? And it wasn't actually that incredible what I wanted. A lot of other people would take it as, for granted that that's what you get. But for me, because I denied myself for so long and also just didn't harness the energy of moving forward, which I actually had within me, I didn't achieve things that I really wanted to achieve. And it's very important, because if you don't live your life, if you don't fall in love with your fate that is in your chart, you haven't served your life's purpose.
And I love that you literally just said the name of my course, Falling in Love with Your Fate. And this isn't a promo podcast, but Sue has brought it up, and we are going to be starting on the 24th of May, Falling in Love with Your Fate, because it literally is about learning about you. Who are you? How do you show up in the world? How do you communicate with the world? And I love the fact that I get to bring in every single one of my modalities, and I also have beautiful people like yourself and other friends that I can bring in the experts in their field when it comes to different modalities. Because when I look at how we overlay our charts, even when we look at love languages, love languages can actually be overlaid with our charts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then when we look at attachment styles, which can affect how we show up in relationships later in life, we can also overlay that to our placements in our houses, because we talked about that in a previous episode.
And the sun and moon.
And the sun.
And mother,
Yep. We all like to blame our parents. Love to do that. And so it's been such an interesting journey since I learned my own chart, because it allowed me to, I guess, take the foot off the brake and the accelerator. I've felt like my entire life that it was just expected of me to achieve. And in moments when I literally could not show up for other people because I was barely showing up for myself, I didn't understand why. Where did my passion and drive go? And I had, some very close family members pass away. But it wasn't until I realised, and I overlaid some of my maps, that I realised why it's possible to go through life one way and then just suddenly it's taken a completely different turn.
And when you move into the flow of falling in love with your fate and moving towards your life's purpose, things move more organically.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas when you are battling, which I certainly would say that I was, battling to be a certain thing, imagining that that's what was expected of me, my life was much harder on a personal level. And now I just give in. It's like, that's what I'm meant to be, that's what I'm meant to be doing, and I will do that.
Yeah, and it's you hear of people, you know, they'll be an accountant their entire lives, and then suddenly they're a yoga teacher.
Because they found their flow.
And they've never been happier.
I can honestly say, I had friends, I'd done some work the other day, it was actually spiritual work, looking for spirits, to be truthful, and I was calling it ghost busting, but I had done some of that work the other day, and honestly, I saw some friends afterwards, and they just said to me, you look amazing. And I didn't realise it myself. I was happy, but I didn't realise that joy of falling in love with my fate and doing what I was destined to do could make you so happy and so settled within yourself.
But could you imagine even just a year ago openly admitting that you were ghost busting?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. My scientific brain could not have managed that at all. But, you know, my chart's fairly clear that that's what will happen for me. And now that I've stopped fighting and accepting, I'm actually having so much fun.
I'd agree. Like, even someone asked me the other day, how does a financial advisor go from that to what you do now? Because I do a lot of woo-woo stuff. But I still have that grounded, I kind of say that, you know, I'm where spirituality and pragmatism meet. But the thing is that when I do all the spiritual stuff and the astrology stuff, it lights me up. I love being able to teach people the lessons that I've learned. So it did not surprise me when I found out that I'm not meant to be working on myself here this lifetime. It's actually for the benefit of others. And when I get out, you know, I don't care if I'm in front of 2 people or 2,000 people. It lights me up.
Yeah. And see, for me, what surprised me was that I got there and my friends noticed that I was so alight. I probably wouldn't have said a word because my chart is nothing about talking to other people as such and spreading the word. So I was quite happy in myself, centered within myself. I was happy there, and it surprised me that other people mentioned it.
Well, I saw you that day and you did look fabulous.
I was so thrilled with how things went, and I felt very fulfilled because I actually knew I had truly helped somebody as well. And that's very much part of my fate as well. And I just thought, my work that I normally do is helping people, but this just felt, I've really felt like I had helped not only the person but the spirit.
Yes.
So I'd worked within 2 worlds, and that was a wonderful feeling.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, we are running short of time, so we are going to have to leave it there. So we hope that you've enjoyed today's podcast. I'd like to thank Sue for coming in today and being here with me. And again, we don't know what's on next agenda, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. We do hope that you've been enjoying this. If you would like to have a personal reading with Sue, we will put her link to her booking page in the show notes. And if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about how you can access trusting your intuition in relationships or having a personal appointment with myself, we'll put those links in the show notes below. So that's it for now. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
And I'm Leisa Q, and have a fabulous day.